You ever feel like your life is just a random jumble of pieces? You know, a job you took, a relationship that ended, that one weird detour you took? It can all feel so disconnected. But what if I told you that all those mismatched pieces are actually forming a beautiful, coherent picture, even if you can't see it yet? Today, we're diving into that exact idea, your life's puzzle.
I mean, of course you have. We all have, right? That feeling deep in your gut wondering, am I on the right path? Does this even lead anywhere? It's a totally universal human thing to feel.
And here's the secret. The little things, those seemingly random events, even the big, scary detours, they only really start to click into place when you look at them in the rearview mirror. This is so important. Clarity comes from reflection, not from trying to predict the future.
Okay, let's start with our very first puzzle piece, and it's a big one: patience. In the world we live in, everything is instant, so this is probably the hardest piece to hold on to. But trust me, it's absolutely essential for building anything that lasts. We all want that immediate payoff, don't we? But real, deep, meaningful success, it's just not like that. It's way more like planting a garden. You got to do the work. You prepare the soil, you plant the seeds, you water it every day, and then you have to wait. You have to trust the process. The flowers are going to bloom on their schedule, not yours. Just think about that for a second. The sheer willpower. Can you imagine getting more than 10 no's for something you poured your entire soul into? J.K. Rowling could have easily given up, but she didn't. She kept tending to her garden, and that patience is what allowed the whole Harry Potter universe to finally explode into the world. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's all about that consistent effort. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see a single sprout. And it's about having the grit to keep going. Because man, your breakthrough could be right around the corner.
All right, our next piece, this one can be really tough to deal with when you're in the middle of it. It's adversity. We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid it, but it might just be one of the most critical pieces in our entire puzzle. This simple shift in perspective is everything. Instead of seeing a setback as just a big, red fail, what if we saw it as a course correction? Or maybe a lesson that we desperately needed to learn? Adversity isn't a wall blocking your way. A lot of the time, it's actually a signpost, pointing you somewhere new, and maybe somewhere better.
This is such a profound, powerful example. Viktor Frankl went through unimaginable horror, and yet he found a way to pull deep, profound meaning from it. He realized that even in the absolute worst circumstances, we still have the freedom to choose our attitude, to find a purpose. It just goes to show how adversity can forge who we are and make our values crystal clear. So next time you're facing a challenge, try asking yourself these questions. What is this trying to teach me? How is this making me stronger? And where might this be pushing me to go next? When you do that, you're not just suffering anymore, you're actively growing. Okay, on to our third piece, good old-fashioned effort. You hear people talk about luck all the time, right? Being in the right place at the right time. But what if luck is really just another word for when preparation finally meets opportunity?
Thousands. Just look at that number for a second. Thousands of what? It represents the staggering amount of persistence, an absolute refusal to quit, even when you fail, again and again and again.
And there you have it. That's from Thomas Edison, who, by the way, failed thousands of times before he successfully invented the light bulb. His point is a total game changer. Opportunity doesn't just show up in a fancy suit. It shows up looking like hard, gritty, unglamorous work. And the people who actually grab it are the ones willing to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty.
So here's the thing. You can basically create your own luck. Seriously, by constantly learning and getting better, by being known as someone who's diligent and reliable, you put yourself in the perfect position so that when an opportunity finally does pop up, you're ready to grab it with both hands.
All right, let's talk about our fourth piece, and this one is all about the people we meet. No puzzle gets solved alone, right? And the picture of our lives is just filled with the faces of the people we encounter along the way. This is such an important way to look at things. It's easy to see the value in our friends and mentors. But what about that difficult person at work who drives you crazy? Well, they're teaching you something too. Maybe it's patience or how to set boundaries. Every single interaction adds another splash of color to your life's painting.
So the bottom line is, stay open. Be curious about people. You honestly never know which casual conversation will spark a huge idea or which introduction will lead you down a brand new path. Every connection matters.
So, we've looked at patience, adversity, effort, and people. But what holds all these different, crazy pieces together, especially in those moments when nothing seems to make any sense? Well, that brings us to our final crucial element, the glue.
Steve Jobs said this in a speech that's become absolutely legendary, and it just perfectly captures that feeling of confusion we all have on our journey. We're standing right here, right now, looking at this messy pile of dots that don't seem to connect to anything.
The clarity, the pattern, the beautiful picture, it only shows up in retrospect. This is the heart of what we've been talking about today. The connections are always there, we just can't see them yet.
And that, right there, is the leap. It's an act of faith. It's about trusting that your hard work, your struggles, the people you meet, all of it, it's all leading somewhere meaningful. Trusting that all these puzzle pieces you're collecting today will, one day, fit together perfectly.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Whether it's a challenge you're facing, a new skill you're learning, or a person you just met, what piece are you holding in your hand right now? And can you trust that it has a perfect place in the beautiful, one-of-a-kind puzzle that is you? Thanks for joining us.